What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. My name is Brennan Tassif. I'll be your host. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com/merch-store. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. We'll put the shorts up there, the full video, the whole thing. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I hope you love it. Subscribe on Patreon, too. We do bonus episodes. I do Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about celebrities I've waited on and whether they're assholes or not, which is super fun. Also, we do a pre-show banter for my other show, Cheers from the Press Box with Joe Dorville. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on over there, too. Make sure you just subscribe everywhere, just all over the place. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not leaving the mean comments, thank you for that. Maybe leave a couple nice ones.
Grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into, we're doing a crossover episode.
I believe it's called a Swapcast.
Yeah,
I believe they call it.
Okay. You texted that to me, and I was like, all right, let's do it.
I think Doug Stanhope invented the term, or maybe Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
But it's a Swapcast, and this will be released on Ex-Drinking Buddy and also the Fullcharge Power Hour. And I had an idea on the train over here. I still got the feed to Power of How.
We'll do it, yeah.
This is going on Power of How,
I didn't even think about that.
This is a triple Swapcast.
Yeah, we're doing it. Everyone knows the great Matt Fulchiron.
Thank you for having me.
From the I almost said from the Power of How, from the Fullcharge Power Hour.
Yeah, thanks for having me on Ex-Drinking Buddy.
Of course.
And thanks for being on the Fullcharge Power Hour.
Thank you. This is going to be fun.
Thank you, sir.
And I got it up there. We got the cover art and everything. Yeah, we're doing the Bro Adjacent tour, man.
Yeah. We are. So, the Bro Adjacent tour is just my tour that I've thrown together. I got this booking agent. All I've ever wanted in my life was a booking agent.
Yeah. So in entertainment, for anybody listening who doesn't understand, you have like a main person that you talk to, like a manager or an agent. But then there's subsects to everything. You have a commercial agent, a booking agent, which is where you get your tour stuff from. That's where most of the money is made in stand-up. You have like movie agents. There's separate television agents.
They're all separate.
So they're all separate. So as a comedian, it's like a booking agent is like the number one thing because we make most of our money going out on the road.
That's the game we're playing.
And that's what they facilitate is just they have relationships with all the clubs.
Yeah, and it goes catch-22. It's always like like I know these booking agents, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think? And they'll be like, big fan. Big fan. Because they're quoting your jokes to you and everything. You know they like your comedy.
Yeah.
But they're like, until you have something going on, I can't really hook you up.
I can't
and
sell
it's like, until I'm hooked up, I can't get anything going on. It's the catch-22 thing.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
It is. I've seen this happen before, just personally with my non-manager that I joke about. He when he comes into the restaurant every so often with his other clients, which again makes me feel kind of like weird, because I'm like, do you guys want more bread? Cool. This is fun.
He's like, you owe me 10% of that bread.
But it was really satisfying. Michael Key is a regular at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to know him a little bit. And when he came in, actually at the same time, my quote-unquote manager, non-manager, whatever he is, was sitting with another client. And I walk out, I'm like, Key, what's up, man? But to your point, it's like, unless you got something going on, but that looks like, does he got something going on?
Right.
So I went back over to the table, and how do you know Keegan-Michael Key? Key? He's a regular, man. He's a friend. He goes, oh, do you think you can, like, introduce? And I go, no.
Hey, man, so you got something going on? I can't introduce you to Keegan.
But it's one of those weird things where it's like, we've been like, quote unquote, working together for a year.
Dude, I had this manager who was like a legit manager who I was even like pitching like my own sitcom with this management company. But they didn't get me like a development deal to where I was like paid up front or anything. So I'm still working at this video duplication place, which is how the business operated back then, pre-internet. And he called me up, one of the people that worked in my management team, and they're like, hey, can you get such and such a deal on some videotapes, like some dubs, like another client. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing way more for you at this point.
That's exactly how I feel. Between like now, I tell everyone. I've told you this. I tell everyone. I was telling Bert and Tom when they came into the restaurant. I don't care if you're an open micer all the way up to Tom was doing Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're in comedy, and I know you're in comedy, and you're not a total douche.
Yeah.
I'll hook it. I'll bring out free stuff. I'll tell my chef my cousin is here, and he always goes, "How many fucking cousins do you have?" But that's what I try to do because, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We don't have a union or anything. I try to look out for, our kind of like our people in the comedy world. But when it's like a suit and they come in and they expect to like get hooked up and like they throw me like a show here and there, I'm like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Like now, to your point, it's like now I'm doing more for you than you've ever done for me.
You point to the sign. Suits pay for sides.
But
no free macaroni and
one of
cheese,
those
buddy.
weird things where it's like because it's that camaraderie we have as comedians, where it's like we've all like been through it. We've all done shitty shows. We've all bombed. We've all crushed. Like we've all been through it. So there's some relatability to that.
Yeah.
But if this is just a person who's like, I'll throw you on a show every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I expect to come in and get treated like Tony Soprano.
Right.
In what was the name of the
Vesuvios.
Vesuvios.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how this works, bro.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, you're not coming on the pod. Like, what are we doing?
Coming on the pod. That's the funniest when they want to make that transfer over. Like, I want to be an entertainer too. I want to be on the pod too.
I've actually I had someone on who produces shows, a good buddy of mine in New York, and we talked about that. He was like, I walked into a comedy club and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I want to do this. He tried it a couple times and he's like, I can't do this. He's like,
welcome to reality.
Yeah,
dude.
but he was like, I love comedy and I love being around it, so I just started running my own shows. And I go, I wish more people would see that and do that.
Totally.
Because there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, this might not be for me, but I'm gonna keep subjecting everyone to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. I think all club owners and club managers. Not necessarily club managers. There's two types of club managers:
Yeah.
a restaurant manager and
A comedy club
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get both at a comedy club. It depends on who the personality is.
Yeah.
And give me the restaurant manager.
7 days a week, baby. Oh, you're not going to tell me about my bits? You're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me what sounds better.
Yeah.
You're just gonna. Hey, we sold this much food.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
Yeah.
86 to 6. 86
Yeah, we were at a
month.
club last time I was here, and like the manager wanted to sit with me, and like he wanted all my attention, and then he wanted to like kind of insult me. Do you remember?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
What are you doing here? He was kind of bummed I didn't like give him a big hello.
Yeah, I do remember that. God,
It's like, you never booked me. What kind of hello do you want?
That's another funny thing I find in dealing with comics, especially because a lot of people at my level are like producing their own shows, booking their own things. And as soon as they have a podcast or something they want to promote, hey, can I come on? Can I come on your show?
Yeah.
And then they'll come on the show. We'll talk about whatever they're promoting. And then they'll be like, oh, I also run a really cool show, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You do. And I know you didn't forget about me because you immediately reached out to come on here to promote your thing.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I'm still waiting on that invite.
Yeah, hook me up.
Yeah.
Hook me up. So I got this this agent. He's just kind of like, he's actually a comic, comic first, and he actually opened for me in Ohio at one point.
Oh, that's awesome.
And somebody else told me, a friend of mine told me, yeah, he's booking me on the road. And I'm like, well, I got to meet with this guy.
Yeah.
And he fucking, I finally got it.
Yeah.
I finally got somebody that'll make phone calls for me who like gets my comedy. And he's low key. He's like indie. He's not like with any organization or anything. And so that's all you need is someone else to call.
That's awesome.
And now we have the Row Adjacent tour.
Yeah.
And we're going to Boston this week and Hartford this week. And we're going to go to Charlotte next week.
Yep.
And on the 27th of April. And then Florida, man.
Big Florida
Your
run.
Triumphant return.
I'm so excited. I appreciate you having me on this tour.
Oh, dude.
Because we've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
Because you've got some stuff in the works. And
I do. I'm taping a special.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to.
No, tickets are available at the Comedy Magic Club. I have a meeting after this, dude. I got my producer, and he's bringing in like somebody on the budget.
Let's go.
He's got like a legit director that's directed a lot of specials for Netflix, dude. I was like, and he was like the first person I called. This producer that I know that I've worked with him before. He used to be Tasha's tour manager. So, like, I know him very well.
Yeah.
And he knows me very well. And he also used to work at the venue I'm taping at. Which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it couldn't be a more perfect
remember,
person.
when all the pieces started falling into place, because we were texting about it. You were like, I got this guy, and now this guy's on. And this guy.
It's weird because so many things don't click in this business. You're always like, it feels like you're forcing sometimes, and you have to back off, and you have to play this, you play that. It's so weird when because you also know how you put off like the real work that you're not familiar with. Okay, I can get ready for a show tonight. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Taping a special, I've never produced a special before. So I was very intimidated about it, but I got the tickets I got the ticket link up and everything, and I'm like, well, I better get on this. I better get ahead of this.
Yeah.
And I sat down, and I thought the first person I thought of was him, and I checked in with somebody else that works with him, and he's like, oh, you gotta work with him. And I'm like, all right, great. And when he called me, he had like all these ideas ready to go, and I was like, holy
it's all coming together.
Shit, I couldn't believe it. I'm super excited to do this, because I know I'm dealing with people who know me and understand what I do. And like we can really talk and collaborate on something. It's like so fucking exciting.
Well, and
you're so used to being on your own in this business.
100%. Because we talked about this on The Power of How a lot, but that whole, and this is something you and I and Daniel, of course, by being Daniel, but like that whole setting a deadline.
Yeah.
For yourself.
Yeah.
Because you and I have known each other for a very long time. And when I first moved to New York, we would kind of toss around this idea of like, I want to shoot a special, and I was talking about my one-man show. And they were kind of just abstract ideas where we're like, eventually, because to your point, it's not immediate.
Yeah.
So you're like, eventually we're going to, well, I'll get around to it.
And if I could stop you just for 1 second, I've already set the date for my special, and it came and went. Like last year.
Yeah, when you did it.
You know
last
what I mean?
Year.
Like
I
set a date and it still didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then now I'm getting people. Now there's a ticket link.
I took off from work and got a plane ticket, so we better, better be happening.
Yeah.
If I show up to LA for one night and you're like, I'm
you know
what?
Like,
what the fuck?
Let's do it next year. Because I'll be in better shape. I have more material. I'm not sure about this section right here. No, that's bullshit.
No, yeah.
Like I'm starting to lock in now. Like, okay, this section needs fucking work.
Well, and it's
all
awesome
that
because you were like, because I did the same thing for my one-man show where it was like, I'm going to set a date and I'm going to pay for the theater, like pay for the space, and now it's got to get done.
Yeah.
Because I go back and watch it now, and I go, with everything, whether it's stand-up or in this case the solo show, it's like I could tweak that. That story's better now.
That's always going to happen.
That's always going to happen. But the fact that I like set the date, paid for the theater up front before I worried about anything else, I was like, here's the money.
Yeah.
So now I'm out. However much it was, I'm out of it now. Yeah. So it's like, now we're doing this.
Yeah.
And you did a similar thing when you were like, I got the venue. You started telling people, you put up the ticket link, and it's like, all right, well, now we're in it. Yeah. Whether we're ready or not, here it comes.
Yeah, no, you will be ready.
Yeah.
To summit. You will be showing up. You will be doing it.
And it's such an awesome venue where you're doing it. And to your point, because the more you and I talked about it, it's like perfect for what's happening.
It's perfect. And I do love, this is so foreign to me because the last time I taped a special, I just got the call, like Goodfellas, man. Like, it's happening this date. Here's the link to promote. And that was all I had to do. Yeah. And on this one, you have to put up your own money. But the upside of that is I get to edit it however I want to edit it.
It's yours.
And so that's fucking beautiful.
There's no holding on to material in perpetuity and all that. It's your thing.
And so you can take more chances. But it's a whole different freedom when you're playing to the cameras. Yeah. You're not in some foreign town you've never been. And that's another thing what I'm trying to get around to is it's so great to have you on, and now Lance
Shout out to Lance.
is going to be Lance Weiss.
Lance Weiss.
I can never get it right. Weiss or Weiss?
It's Weiss.
It's Weiss.
It's Weiss. Well,
That's
he
what I
called me
thought.
Brendan in the group chat, so it's Weiss.
Right. So he did? Yeah. No.
I'm sure it was an autocorrect because I have a
whatever.
unique name.
Yeah.
But as soon as you were like, Weiss, I'm like, it's Weiss. We're going with that.
Right. But it's so much better to like roll into town with people I know,
Yeah.
people I like, people I believe in. It's so much different attitude to showing up and just getting like interrogated in the green room.
Yeah.
Like, so, they just want to figure you out or whatever. And then they're going to try to bury you.
Yep.
They're going to try to ruin your night.
Yeah, it's great because I've been that.
We've all been that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on that guy.
No, yeah.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
But
Back in
I don't
Jacksonville, when people would come through,
Yeah.
I'd be excited to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I listened to this guy on this podcast, like so and so is coming to town, and there was a couple of people I got to open for in Jacksonville. And I was genuinely a fan, so they would come with their feature. We talked about Rain Dogs before on the show,
Yeah.
but we had a few comics come through there, and I remember being like, "Man, I've heard that this guy on such and such podcast 2 or 3 times. Like, I'm going to invite all my friends,
Yeah.
and I'm going to bury this guy." And they'll always remember.
Watch me bury George Carlin tonight.
God, but it was but that's just the mindset when you're
Yeah.
a younger comic or
Yeah.
even an older person, but
Yeah.
you've never left the town you're in.
Right.
When they're like, hey, the club calls you and they're like, hey, you want to open for
Yeah.
such? Again, it's just.
So I'm in a unique situation, like really for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
This is like me getting ready for my hour.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been I've been the opening act for other comics, and I see why they do it now because you just get to roll in with your crew.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like so much less like an outsider.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a comfort to it too.
It's just so much better, and I'm so glad you're coming along with me.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I appreciate it so much.
It's gonna be a blast. We're road tripping it, man.
It's gonna be so fun.
And this is something I told you when you did the very first episode of this during the pandemic when we did it over Zoom. And I remember I was talking to you about this, but I say this, I've had plenty of people on here, and I talk about this a lot where it's like if like in my head I'm like, oh, that is my friend, because there's so
Yeah.
many people, especially in our business, where they're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Sure.
Like jokingly earlier when I was like, oh, Key, he's a friend.
Sure.
Like there's so much of that. But if I'm like, oh, this is my guy, this is
Yeah.
my friend, this is a person I'm gonna ride with.
Yeah.
And I told you this, what was that, 5-6 years ago? But like that's how. So as soon as you were like, hey, do you want to come along? There's not going to be a lot of money, but if you
Yeah.
want to come, you can come. I told her, I was like, I'm going to start throwing money in the savings account,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'll take the time off of work, and we're going. Like, I
Yeah.
don't give a shit.
That's the business is weird right now. It's like you just have to invest.
Well, and
like you
yeah.
have to have. What I like about this is there's an objective.
Yeah.
And you've always wanted to do more road. I think.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like this is
100%.
gonna be.
And it's so cool to be on the road, because in New York, and you know this because you were here for a while, it's so hard to just be like a regular at a club. Unless you're like one of the top 10 comedians in
Yeah.
the city, it's very difficult to get steady work where
Yeah.
you're doing more than 8 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
And so I have so many bits that I work out at open mics
Yeah.
that I'll do when I'm thrown on a show, but you can only like weave in that material every once in a while. Like if I said this before, I was doing a show at a smaller club here in the city. It was a late night Monday show, and I got booked on it once. Did my tight material, did a tight 10, crushed, did really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Got booked on it again, and I was like, it's a fucking late show at like a lower level club. I'll weave in some new stuff.
Yeah.
And I did okay.
Right.
The third time, because it was 3 weeks in a row, the third time I'm like, oh, I'm always on this show now.
Yeah, right.
And I bombed. Never got invited back. Right. So it's one of those things where it's like I couldn't weave in new material even if I wanted
Totally.
to.
And then you're like a really hard worker, so you'll go to open mics even though like you're way higher caliber than that. But that's no good either because that's like
No one's
that's
paying
not a real
attention.
show.
Yeah. No one's paying attention. The stuff that we laugh at open mics is normally way darker.
So dark.
Way twister
Yeah.
than anything you'd hear at a regular
Yeah.
show. So if you kill with a new bit at an open mic and then try it at a show, you're going to get groans, weird looks. People aren't not going to be on your side.
I still have a couple things. I have one joke left over from my open mic days in spirit. And I finally found the punchline like way later. But it's still part of that mentality.
Yeah.
And it's a hit or miss joke. but I got to save her for it or whatever. But my point is, it stems from those days where like
everyone's
just
talking
trying,
about suicide and drug overdoses.
There you go.
And we're all dying laughing.
Right.
And then you try it at a real show and people are like, oh my God.
Oh, I'm just trying to have a pleasant evening with my granddaughter.
And the other problem, I say this all the time, I like going to mics because it builds camaraderie. It's a great, because again, I'm not passing enough clubs, so it's a great way to just hang around comics.
Yeah.
The thing that can be, and you and I have talked about this at length, because sometimes I'll have like the word, like a set at a mic where I'm like, I should quit comedy, which should never happen at a mic because everyone at a mic is at a mic.
Yeah.
So you should never feel that way, especially to people listening who do stand up. You should never feel that way at a mic.
Well, no, people who do stand up should quit.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need the competition.
We got it. We're all
quit.
right.
Go back to college. You're disappointing your parents.
You have a degree to do something with it. But it is a crazy thought to be like, you can have, like, there's like today. I went to a mic earlier today and I was like, going on the road, got to work on a couple of bits from my tight five.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff I haven't done in a while, I want to make sure it's still good.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard it.
Right.
So they all just stare at you.
Yeah.
And then I go, maybe this isn't funny.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, but this works.
Right.
But nobody's laughing.
Right.
So then you start getting in your head about what actually works and what doesn't, even though you know this from historical evidence that this does work.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why mics can be detrimental. And you said something to me that I carry with me, which is sometimes preparation is more important than
That's
just
my new
getting
thing.
up and saying it.
That's my new thing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a long story just to prove
Yeah,
that
of course.
point if you're interested.
Yeah, 100%.
So I was hanging out with Louis. It was I had such a great time last night. And there's a lot of backstory to this. I was going to stay at Louis Katz's house, apartment last night and tonight. But you know when you're going out of town and just life in general, you never get enough done.
Yeah.
You know? And so on the last day I'm in town in LA, I guess it was Monday, I get this thing where I have to self-tape an audition.
Okay.
Which I called my commercial agent months ago because I'm like, I got to do more stuff. I got to get out of the house. I called my old commercial agent, send me out. Guess what? Just like everything else, everything is now self-tape at home. Yep. So now it's just more of what I'm already bogged down with, which is podcasting and social media. It's all I do anyway, right? And now there's this self-tape. And you would not.
All we do is just fucking this shit.
They're like, how about some more of that, asshole?
I want to go into an office.
For free, by the way.
Yeah.
And now the business, like all businesses are just crumbling. And so the commercial acting business used to be a payday. It used to be good for unions, like your union status.
Get your card
like
and stuff,
SAG.
yeah.
Now everything's non-union. And they give you these instructions with attitude, by the way. Don't look at yourself on the camera. Make sure you have a reader. Fuck that, dude. I'm not inviting somebody over to read with me when my wife's out of town. Like, I know what I did, and I'm like, I don't even care if I can't get the job anyway.
Yeah.
Because, so what I did is I taped myself on like GarageBand without even a mic too. Just like trying not to get this job. Because they specifically said, don't do that. But I did it anyway. Yeah. Because I also didn't book out. That's another thing you have to do with your agent. If you're going to be out of town, you got to book out and let them know when you're not going to be there.
Like avails.
In other words, I can't make the call back.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell my agent. And also and it wasn't even my fault, but the first month of dealing with this commercial agent was me not getting the notifications from and in other words, and it's also AI now. So the agent does so little. All they are is involved. They set up your profile and they're involved with, making sure you submit.
Yeah.
They're basically like sending you an email. It's like, hey, did you submit?
Yeah.
Why didn't you submit?
But AI
But they don't really do that much other than that.
Yeah.
And so I also spent the first month like trying to make sure my self-profile and their profile of me was linked up, which it wasn't. I also went to casting networks, which used to be a real physical place. I went there, there's nobody there. And it's in a casting agent See, that I used to go to all the time. And you'd go there, and there'd be like 30 beautiful women around 25. There'd be 30 dudes dressed like firefighters.
Yeah.
There'd be a bunch of dogs over here. It was awesome. It was so fun. And you totally took it for granted.
Yeah.
And I saw my friend there, and I go, hey, man. It was like there was only like 12 people there going for some role. It must have been a callback.
Yeah.
And I said to my friend, I go, is this Casting Networks? Is it ever open? And he goes, no, dude, like that's just done. But the sign is still up and everything.
Oh, but it's
There's
just
like a tumbleweed going
now.
past.
Yeah.
And so then you got to get on the phone and make sure it goes. I finally got it all linked up. And so I forget my point, but they're already like, they already have this attitude like, this guy is fucking old. I'm 50.
Yeah.
I'm non-union again. And I could tell it's just like a huge pain in their ass. But to my point, the casting networks couldn't like connect it. It took forever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's why I feel like they have that attitude towards me, and I can't. And I already did one like, hey, I forgot to book out. I'm not going to be able to make this, so I'm not going to submit. But on this one, I'm like, I'm going to submit and pretend like I got my work last minute.
Yeah.
So that
something came up.
And then that's actually the great way to get the part is to say you're unavailable for the callback.
Yep.
Because then they can just go by what they already like about you.
Yep.
That's how I got on the Las Vegas HBO festival, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, really?
20 years ago. Yeah, I couldn't make the callback, and they liked what they saw at the first one, which, come on.
Yeah.
It's stand-up. It's lightning in a bottle anyway. Just
Right.
go by that. And they had to go by that. And I made it to the HBO festival. And that's how I got on the Craig Ferguson show.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's really how I got
yeah.
on Last Comic Standing and Live at Gotham was I had that tape.
And it
I
just
mean,
spiraled into like everything else.
nothing was better than just taking the job in Reno.
You would be shocked because this is something that actually happens in athletics all the time. A lot of players, especially nowadays, their agents will be like, don't do the combine, like
Yeah.
all the testing.
Yeah.
They'll be like, don't do it.
Right.
And the players a lot of times are like, shouldn't I do it? Like, I'd be good at it. They go, you can only go down.
Right. You already have
They
hype.
see the tape. They see the tape. They have the hype.
Right.
Don't give them a reason not to pick you.
Yeah, that's somebody without hype. This is your chance to get some hype.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they always tell players, like, if you're projected in the later rounds, do as best as you can at the combine.
Right.
But if you're already like a first round prospect,
Yeah.
like if they already saw the tape and they're like, we like this guy, don't give them a reason not to like you.
Beautiful. And I was lucky I had like a friendly person, somebody who liked me, who was like running the HBO festival. Ultimately, now that I say that out loud, that helps out. He wasn't running, he was just working at it. But I did know they liked me too.
You had someone on the inside.
But I still felt like I had to go to the audition and I had this this girlfriend who was an actress, and she goes, isn't the callback to the HBO festival a little more important than this gig in Reno? And I was like, yeah. This is before I talked to HBO. I go, yeah, you're right. So I hit up my friend who worked there, and I go, yeah, you know, kind of like, I guess I was asking what he thought. I don't know why I included all this information to tell him.
Should I?
I guess I was asking his opinion.
Yeah.
And he goes, go do the thing in Reno. So I guess the fix was in.
Just
Which
no. Go do
you
the
have
thing
to
in
accept. When the fix is in on you, you have to accept because it's usually on somebody else.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, I was bogged down on Monday. I somehow I had a 7 a.m. flight on Tuesday yesterday.
Yeah.
And I have this little joke to myself, which is I think Tyler Durden books my flights, like my evil twin.
Yeah.
Or like maybe Severance or. So my innie booked it.
You open up your carry-on, it's just soap, and you're like, motherfucker.
Or my Audi booked it, because I guess that's my work me is getting on this flight.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Audis don't care about innies. So, I'm like, well, I better get to bed at 8 o'clock. And I'm such a nerd about getting to the airport 2 hours early. I'm like, I'm going to schedule an Uber, and I scheduled it for like 4:40 a.m. And they asked all my flight information. They're like, don't you mean 4:25? Don't you want to get to the airport 2 hours early? Uber actually did this.
Oh, really?
Because then you're at that point where like, if someone gives you wisdom and you deny it, you are responsible for that mistake.
You put that out. Yeah, you put that out there.
And there's also like, what's 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I better get to bed at 8 o'clock. And I got to bed at 8 o'clock, or really 9:40. What am I talking about?
Did you like go to get ready for bed at 8, or did you just end up being
There's
like
always something to do when you, my sets were on 8, but then like I didn't want to come home to a dirty apartment.
Yeah.
And my wife's been out of town for 2 weeks, so you can fucking guarantee that it just looked like hell.
yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So I had to clean up, and I didn't sleep.
Really?
At all.
You're pretty good about knocking out.
No, I am not.
No, you're not.
You're not. You got somebody else.
No, I'm good at knocking out.
You're good at knocking out.
Yeah. I thought you and I were similar in that way. We're exact opposites.
No, I got a fucking 3-ring circus going on in my forehead, dude.
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking, you know? And I've been tight lately too. Like I could tell, like I've been tight. And like I have a hard time even like taking deep breaths. Like because I have so much work to do right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a much better attitude about work, but it's still on my mind. So I don't sleep at all, to the point where I get up before my alarm and make myself breakfast, which is great.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I fell asleep with like maybe 2 hours of sleep, I'd have hit snooze, and that Uber is scheduled.
Yeah, it's coming.
And fucking scheduled Ubers, side note, always show up early and make it seem like it's time to go.
We do that. So Tracy and I do that whenever we go to visit my grandmother in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Because it's not like in a big city where you can just wake up and hit Uber and there's one like 3 minutes away.
Right, yeah.
Like sometimes, especially Jacksonville is so spread out, you'll call for an Uber being like, all right, we got to leave in like 10 minutes. Hit the button. And it's like 27 minutes away. And you're like, what the? Like, we got to go now.
Was just in Jacksonville for a wedding. My wife was the maid of honor, I believe. Whatever it's called when you're married. She was, you know, the best man.
Yeah,
woman.
maid of honor, yeah. Maid of honor, you're there.
And so she has actual deadlines, appointments. And then it's like 27 minutes away. Okay, we're down to 14. Cancel.
Yeah,
cancel.
Like, come on.
Oh, dude.
So we had to start scheduling it, but to your point, they do that.
Yeah.
Like we always take the same flight back because there's a flight that goes from Jacksonville to LaGuardia, which is only 20 minutes away.
Right.
But it always leaves at 6:05 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I always have to schedule the Uber for like 4:45 in the morning. They always show up at 4:30.
Yeah.
And your phone's ding. Your Uber has arrived.
Come meet.
Ding. Come meet your Uber.
Because Uber only has so many prompts. It's like, come meet your Uber driver. And it's like.
And I'm like, yo, you're technically 20 minutes early because I have a 5-minute grace period.
Right.
Like, relax.
Let's settle this at tip time.
Yeah. My alarm hasn't even gone off yet because I literally roll out of bed, grab my stuff, and walk.
And by the way, like, are any other fares available right now? Just sit tight.
Yeah, relax. Relax. Dude, the guy we got last time, we honestly looked at each other and thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
This Eastern European guy spoke no English, had like a 1995 Honda Civic going like 105 on the high. And the car's like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm looking at her like, should I say slow down? But I don't want to look like a bitch. I'm like,
and it's also like, why? Like, why are you speeding?
Yeah.
Well, this is a scheduled Uber.
And the flight's at 6. It's 4:45. Relax.
It's Jacksonville Airport.
No one's going to be there.
Half the people are going to miss the flights they paid for.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy. But you were saying you scheduled the Uber.
So, I get there and I'm just sleeping on a flight is a young man's game.
I can't do it.
It's hard enough to sit in the fucking chair. This chair is more comfortable.
Yeah.
And this is not something I'm going to sit in for 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And this chair has no cushion. It's a fake cushion on an airplane.
It is.
You're sitting on a metal chair.
It's not. I can't. I'm coming back.
That was like designed before calories were invented.
It was coming back from LA. I always take the early flight out, and so I don't sleep.
Yeah.
I did the show in LA. Literally hung out with my friends around 2 a.m. We're all outside of the Comedy Store hanging out, and I'm like, all right, because at the Comedy Store they kick you out at 1:30.
Yeah.
So we're all just standing outside on the sidewalk like fucking hooligans. It's like
you're lucky you don't drink. Everybody else is waiting to get arrested.
Yeah, it was nuts because the Comedy Store, they don't play around. Like those bouncers are like, let's go, get the fuck out, come on.
Yeah.
So I was like at 2 o'clock, I was like, all right, go to the airport. I'm like, I'll sleep on the plane on the way home.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I haven't slept all day.
Yeah.
I'll sleep on the plane.
Yeah.
Just wide awake the whole time.
And when you live in New York, you enter the madness.
Oh, right away.
The madness.
Right away.
Kristen and I flew from Hawaii to JFK, and it was like somebody was just beating us with baseball bats if we got off the plane.
Oh.
'Cause we had to go pick up a car at like a remote lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Which means you're like on the phone with like a shuttle with like a person, like the Stone Ages.
I just remember sitting in the chair and my back, like my lower back immediately started kind of hurting a little.
Yeah.
To where in your head you go, oh, this is going to be a problem. Because this is 4.5 hours and I just sat down and it's
Yeah.
just starting to hurt.
I'm glad you said there's going to be a problem because I kind of started to freak out a little bit. I get on the air train and
Yeah.
I get on the E train and I'm like texting Louis. I'm going to stay at Louis' apartment, and I'm like, I don't know if I can really sleep on someone's couch tonight and the next night. Like
Yeah.
I start to get nervous that I'm going to get sick because I didn't sleep, and it's just such I'm definitely not above staying on couches, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like I have to, I just know I'm going to get better sleep at a hotel, but
Yeah.
hotels are like so expensive.
Yeah.
But I do know about this one in Williamsburg called the Pod.
Oh,
is
yeah.
kinda cheap.
Know the pod, yeah.
It's small. It's way smaller in this room. It's like from here to the
It's
wall.
literally a pod, yeah.
But I'm like, do I want to spend the money?
I'm so
Do I
glad
wanna
you're
spend
talking
the
about
money?
this. I have this conversation with myself all the time.
Do I want to spend the money? And I got on the phone with my wife, and she goes, "Spend the money." And that's all you need.
Yep.
That's all you need is your wife or even somebody you barely know just going, spend the money. And you
Yep.
go, I have to spend the money because I need to take good care of myself because I am going on a road trip, man, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
These stand-up gigs are brutal,
Love it.
especially the ones like we're doing where this one's not that bad because it's only 3 days and one of them is at the same location.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday at the same location. But you have to take good care of yourself for this shit. That's one thing you learn when you're older. You can't, again, you're so lucky you don't drink
Yeah.
because you're going to have that much going for you. Even if you fuck up and eat mozzarella sticks for dinner, you're
fine.
still not going to have a hangover, an alcohol hangover.
Yeah.
And so I did it, man, and I was so happy.
That's best.
But then Louis thought like he did something wrong.
Oh, and
he
Louis
goes
is in his head a
because
lot.
he goes. Can you come by a little after 5 because I got to work out and I want you to come by like after that. And I'm like, totally. And I was totally like, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But then I hit him up. He goes, all right, you can come over now. And I go, I got a hotel, dude. It's all good. And he's like, oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I worked out. I'm like, it's not you.
Yeah.
It is not you. It's something I had to do for myself. He's like, let's go have dinner. We go have dinner, and then we go to the New York Comedy Club. Last night was like the Wizard of Oz. It was so awesome. I thought I was just having dinner with Louis,
Yeah.
and then I was going to go back and go to bed because I didn't sleep. We go to New York Comedy Club. He has a great set. We're having a great time. And then he's like, well, I'm going to go to Gotham now. And he mentioned somebody we knew that was booking the show. And I'm like, oh, I already hit him up anyways. Like, let's go by,
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't find a train that would stop at 23rd Street.
Yeah, because it's all locals.
Like
yeah.
these are like specific nightmares I have where I can't get to the gig.
Yeah.
Luckily, I wasn't booked, so
You're
it
like,
wasn't
whatever.
a nightmare
Yeah.
for me. But it was funny that like 4 or 5 different trains didn't stop at 23rd, and it's like, well, what's going on
It's
at
all
23rd?
4s and 5s, no 6s,
know?
and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. So no, we got on trains that stopped at the 23rd usually.
Yeah. Oh,
Nobody
really?
was stopping at 23rd that night.
Oh, so the station
The
was
E
just-
train,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
C
yeah.
train, this train, that train, none of them stopping.
Wow.
And it actually says on the fucking thing. So we're just like running around. We're getting out of this stop. We're going to the next stop. We're repaying for the
This is my
subway.
nightmare.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
my nightmare.
But it wasn't a nightmare for me because I can go home at any point.
Yeah, you're like,
I can just
I
bail.
got a hotel room, baby. I'm good.
And Louis' mentality is like, well, it doesn't pay enough for me to get an Uber. I don't give a fuck. And I love that mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we made it to the gig, and then like Ryan's like, "Do you want to do a spot?" And I go, "Yeah." And that's actually a funny thing because now it goes from like fun night to like you're going on last.
You're working.
You're closing out the show in the lounge at Gotham, which is actually harder than upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And I've just done like a fair amount of comedy at retirement centers. So I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm a good comedian. I got laughs at those places. I'm good. I went up, dude, and I just fucking destroyed. I killed.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking killed. It was crazy. Now I'm having a good time hanging out with Ryan. There's this other comic that was on the spot. She's visiting from LA. I don't know her from LA. We're all hanging out, having a good time. And then Louis like, let's go to the cellar. And so now me and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, we're all going to the cellar, you know? And it's like, that's what I love about New York. It's like being in a comedy festival. This was a
I love
Tuesday.
it. It's my favorite thing.
Went up at the cellar, had a great time there, and then left. Me and Louis left, and I went home. I'm like, all right, now I get to sleep. I'm talking about. Can't get to sleep.
Yeah.
Because even though I didn't get that much sleep, I still got 4.5 shitty hours on the plane. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of woke up at my time, noon. In other words, like, even though it was a shitty night's sleep, my body clock, it's sad. And I've been doing a lot of stand up. So I'm on a comedian schedule.
You're on an LA comedian
I'm on an
schedule.
LA comedian schedule. And so I didn't get to bed till at 2 a.m. I looked at my phone and I go, I usually don't look at my phone if I'm getting up for an alarm. Mm-hmm. Like tonight, I will not look at my phone.
Yeah.
Because we have to wake up kind of early tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so if I have to use my phone, I actually go like this.
Oh, so you don't even see what time it is.
Because if I know what time it is, I will not get to sleep at all. And so I'm starting to get hungry because all I had was that one meal with Louis the whole day.
Oh, wow.
And I go,
because you're not eating on the plane.
I'm like, should I? I looked at Joe's Pizza. I'm like, it's open for another hour. I'm like, should I? I'm like, it's 0.2 miles away. I get up. I go out there. I'm the only one there. I figured, because I used to live in Williamsburg, and in my mind, it's Coachella every night.
Yeah, 2 a.m.
But that's just summer on Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday
at 2 a.m.
in barely.
But
in the spring.
it's winterish.
Yeah, it's very still winter. Yeah,
and so it's just me and the guys. And the only thing I had, me and the guys that work there, I'm experiencing.
I started laughing.
I'm experiencing their closing time. They don't give a fuck. It's like 5 of them just doing whatever.
Yeah,
I'm happy for them. They don't have to do that much work. It's just me. But I'm gonna tell you something, and I hope this isn't like standard across the board. New York, the slices have gotten smaller.
Oh yeah.
In the new economy, so I'm eating like these 2 small slices, which, listen, is delicious. But half the fun is folding it up and overeating, you know. And that was weird to see, man. Like they're like, we can't raise prices anymore because it's just been steady raising prices. Like the slice is supposed to be the affordable meal.
Yeah, and a slice now is like $3,
and they're $3.50, I think.
Yeah.
And they're keeping it cheap. Like dollar slice, $1.50 slice now.
Yeah.
The places that ran their whole business on dollar slice for like 20 years, they're now $1.50 slice. So. That was kind of sad to see, but I get it. Like, I'd rather get what I used to get, but like I get it.
Yeah,
like
pay more and then get what
you don't want to be paying $6 for a slice. You just don't.
No, it's crazy because there's a place right around the corner from the restaurant.
Yeah.
And if I get off and I check the trains, because especially on the weekends, the trains are like every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So if I check and it's like 18 minutes away, I literally walk by this pizza shop. But same thing. Like I'll go in there and get 2 slices, and they'll be like, "All right, it's like $9.75," and I'm like, "It's just cheese. Like it's just 2 slices of cheese.
Yeah,
what are we
know.
doing?
It's not right.
It's like it's $4.25 a slice. What are we doing?
It's not right.
It's not artisanal. It's none of that. It's just a regular pizza shop.
It's a shame, man.
Yeah.
And then like I pay with credit cards when I travel, so I can keep track of it for my taxes. And then if you pay for a credit card, it's always tip, and it's just me and the guys. Everybody's watching me. There's your tip.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
So, and then I crashed at around, I must have fallen asleep around like 4 or 5. Again, I wasn't looking.
Yeah.
I did that horrible thing. It doesn't matter if you're on comedian schedule. It never feels good to wake up at noon.
No, I do it. I go through this.
You have to give it to yourself,
Yeah.
but it's a weird thing. It still feels kind of bad.
Yeah, there's so many times where I get home, because on the weekends especially, because you've been to my restaurant. It's a busy place. And on the weekends, I'm always like, I'm not closing. I should be out of there by like 10:30, 11. I'll do my lap around McDougal Street. I'll say what's up to some of the comics who are barking.
Yeah.
If I know them, we'll hang out. If I see someone like a bigger comic that I know, I'll hang out.
And by the way, how cool is that? The life you're living.
It's a comedy festival every night,
it's
man.
awesome.
And so, but the problem is I do that. It's a Saturday night, so the trains are running a lot less frequently. So by the time I get home, it's like 12:31 in the morning. And it's like, okay, well, I just got off work, so I'm going to wind down. I might watch a show.
You have to.
I also have editing. There's always podcast stuff that needs to get done. There's always clips that need to be. You're never done. So it's like, okay, well, I'll do a little work on the computer. But then my brain goes to that something we always talked about on The Power of How is like, you have to do some stuff for you, like just because you want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't do it during the day because I've got the gym, I've got mics, I've got work.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'll like sit and play my video game for like an hour now.
Which I think you should, though.
But now it's 4 a.m.
Right. No, but a couple of things. You have to unwind when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go straight to bed. Not because you need that hour of you time. It's just your body's not ready to go to bed yet.
Yeah, that's the thing is my body's always
And then you also shouldn't be doing work before you go to bed.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You should be fucking around. You really should be reading, but fuck it. I find like they say you're not supposed to watch TV. TV works fine for me.
Yeah,
I watch TV.
I've been doing that for a
Didn't
while.
Daniel say that like the brain scan,
the blue lights
when
or
you're
whatever,
watching, is just like nothing. So what's wrong with that?
That's
that
what
sounds
we're
good to
doing.
me.
I've heard, but then the thing is like because Tracy sleeps with an eye mask.
Yeah.
So the thing we do now is I've asked her to leave when she goes to go to bed because she's a teacher, so she goes to bed at like.
Oh man.
Her staying up late was like she stayed up till 12 o'clock the other night because they're off this week, and it was like she's like I'm exhausted. This is the latest I've stayed up in forever. So we leave the window shades open because what I've noticed is that if the natural light wakes me up at like 9. I'm actually up.
You're fine.
I crash out around 1 or 2, but I can take a nap before I go into work.
Yeah.
I'm a good napper. So
Good for you.
Yeah, I'll crush a nap, like a 30-minute nap, and then go into work, and I feel great.
Yeah.
But that, like, especially during the winter when it's cloudy or when we used to sleep with the blinds closed, if I got up at like 11:30 or 12, I felt like the biggest piece of shit in the world.
Which you shouldn't.
Because I'm going to bed at 4, but it's still in my head. I'm like, miserable.
Listen to like what you just said you did. You're working, you're earning a living.
Yeah.
And then you're going to your other career. You're working at that. Socializing is a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
And also just seeing it with your own eyes and like,
just being around it.
you could get nabbed like, Brennan, nobody showed up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of comedy clubs.
We just started
out there.
rewatching Crashing. Tracy had never seen it, so we're rewatching Crashing.
Yeah.
And in like episode 2, Big J is like, yeah, you want to go up, man?
Yeah.
You want to go up? And then when Pete Holmes goes to go up, he's like, I've never seen him before, but this will be fun. And Tracy's like, oh my God, does that really happen? And I go,
All the time.
All the time.
It happened to me last night.
Yeah. You want to go up? Okay.
There was no need for me to go up. Like there was a full show.
Yeah, but they were just like,
based
go
on what
up.
I saw.
Yeah.
I saw like 3 comics go up. And then I was, and,
Look, we don't need more
and we
than
got there.
5.
I told you we were late.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't turn it down.
Yeah,
It's like, I've been doing this a long time and I've played a lot of famous clubs, but it's always a privilege to do a legit comedy club. It just always is. 1 a.m, doesn't matter. Like, and that doesn't mean you say yes every time, but
There's something about it.
Say
yeah.
yes.
There's something
Fucking
about
say
it.
yes
Yeah.
on this one.
Because I've
Especially if you don't live in the city.
yeah, oh yeah, dude.
You know, like you can be
coming
out.
in to visit, and you're like, hey, I'm here to crush, and I'm out.
But how bad can you fail? Like you just be like, well, I'm never going back to New York.
I'm never going back to God.
But I also had the luxury of they don't know how long I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
If we're not feeling it. And I just went up there and they you know that like 30 seconds of them not like really liking you, but I didn't let it faze me and I just fucking ramped up.
Got him.
And right now I tell my 2 best jokes up front. And it's just like
smart.
Koosh, koosh. And it was just like it was awesome, dude. It was fun.
Dude, that's sick, man.
Yeah.
But you're not staying with Louis. Was Louis heard about it?
Louis was not the least bit hurt. And I'm sure he
Good.
was like secretly relieved. Like
Yeah.
because like once I convinced him that it wasn't him,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, dude, you're
good.
you're a 50-year-old guy. You want your own space. he was saying it from his perspective too. He's younger than me, but still, you need your space sometimes. You know?
I brought it up because it reminded me of when I went to LA a couple weeks ago. Because you were like, yeah, you can stay with us. But I was going through those same, what you were going through, I was going.
Of course.
I literally got a place, booked it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, Matt and Kristen said I could stay with them.
Yeah.
So I unbooked it.
Yeah.
Then booked it again.
Yeah.
And then unbooked
Canceled
it. And I was like, what am I doing?
I'm going crazy.
Because I was like, I need my space. But I was like booking a place on like Vrbo.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's a spare room in another guy's house. So it's like, I might as well just stay on this.
Stay with us. Stay with us.
I was like, I might as well stay
You're
with
always
family.
welcome.
Yeah, not
You're
with
always
this
welcome.
random stranger.
And what's good, I only have a 1-bedroom, but the bedroom is so far away from the living room that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was
You
like,
know?
it was basically staying in my own spot. But it was just that what you're talking about, that just idea of like, well, I need to save money, but also I want my own, like that back and forth.
To that back and forth, the thing I left out just for brevity was at the airport in the morning, I booked one night at the pod out of the 2 days, right? So I'm like, I'll stay with Louis one night, and then I'll go to the hotel the next night.
Yeah.
So I was already had 1 foot in.
You were already there.
And then I was like, but I can't do, I was like kind of getting upset. I was like, I can't do this. I can't like fucking, I can't sleep on somebody's couch when I'm this tired. And I'm glad I didn't, because I honestly slept, I woke up at noon.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get out of bed till like 1:15.
You were out.
Yeah. And so that's what's funny. I set up a loose day for myself, just one podcast, but now I'm on a time crunch. And also I have a meeting all of a sudden. So all of a sudden I'm just wall to wall because I woke up so late. We got to wrap it up soon.
Yeah, we do. We got 5 minutes.
I'm on a schedule here.
This was your idea.
When's Daniel getting here? What is this?
Where's Daniel? God, oh man, we're gonna do another Power of How
next week. Well, it's gonna be a triple whammy again.
Yeah,
I got. If you don't mind.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Because he lives right around the corner, so I'm excited to do it. We actually did an episode from this couch. I gotta figure out the mic situation though.
We'll figure it out. It doesn't matter. It'll just be so cool to have the reunion, to even just attempt it.
Yeah, because it's interesting even to this day. And you know this because you've been doing podcasting, over a decade.
Since podcastings were invented, basically.
Yeah, 100%. You were there from the start. And it's so weird when people will ask me about podcasts. And it's like, oh yeah, I've done quite a few of them. Like I've been a guest on some. I've got my own. I've done some with friends. And whenever I bring up the Power of How, they always are like, oh, what's that? And I go, it's a positivity podcast about. And as soon as I say that, they go, that sounds like, why would you? That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it does sound awesome.
I felt like we were doing something great. And to me, it's not dead. That's why
why you still keep it up. Yeah.
I'm still paying for it.
Yeah.
And because I want to come back to it like we're going to come back to it, like we're coming back to it right now.
Yeah.
But I do think it was a tough sell for a couple, like dudes, like people have the luxury of actually listening to people that are their same age, their same gender, their same.
Yeah.
And I feel like bros our age, we're not looking for that. And I don't know, but I believe in it. And it'll never be dead for me.
No, yeah, me too. And that's and
I'm still trying to get Roadheads back on the map. I believe in all my podcasts.
Yeah,
dude,
Well, it's the thing that always bugs me about this goes all the way back to the beginning when we were talking about like the manager stuff. Like, oh, unless you got something going on, I can't really.
Yeah.
The thing that always bugs me is whenever you and I have had a project, I will bring it up to other people, and they always say that actually sounds genuinely. They'll be like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, where the fuck were you? Like, I did my one-man show, and everyone's like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Like, you've been through a lot. You've been arrested 8 times. You have all this stuff. You should do the one-man show.
Yeah.
And then I do it. And then 400 people see it on YouTube. And I'm like, where were you?
It's just one of those things where I see these kids on the train, and they're just watching, like, I said to Louis last night, I'm like, how many videos do you think are on YouTube right now?
Oh,
and it's got to be like more than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
And
there's like millions uploaded every minute.
And I feel like on the internet too, a lot of times people, including myself, go to things that make them upset or make them feel like there's a problem to solve, and not like a recovery.
Well, that's why
people don't really go to recovery until rock bottom.
Yeah, that's why how the Power of House started.
Yeah.
Was we know plenty of people, especially in the comedy sphere, where it was just let's rage bait, let's get everyone pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
still
we were like,
that's a
let's-
flourishing business.
Oh, very much so. But we were like, let's do the opposite. Let's
Yeah.
be positive.
That was Daniel and I talked about that before you and I talked about doing a podcast, and we were talking about that, and Daniel was just like, but it can't be negative.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. And then, but if you go to Power Hour, there's plenty of bitching. There's plenty.
But we always put a positive spin.
We did try to be like, well, here's how you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
'Cause- And Daniel, obviously being our Sherpa, was very
Our
good
guru,
about that.
yeah.
Where he was like, why don't you just think about it this way?
And I'm like, spoken like somebody with dual citizenship.
Yeah, right. Dude, this was fun.
Hell yeah, let's do it again.
The Bro Jason Tour.
It continues. Too late to see our New England run.
Yes, but Florida, this will come out for Florida.
Our Florida and probably our Charlotte.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening.
The Full Charge Power Hour on all streaming platforms.
Ex-Drinking Buddy. That's the official name, right?
Your Ex-Drinking
Your
Buddy.
Ex-Drinking Buddy and The Power of How.
Boom.
Check it all out.
Talk to everybody next week.
Peace.